Hi guys, welcome back to part 2 of the slow cooker meatballs and beefy onion mashed potatoes. So, as you can see, I have gotten our meat for our meatballs out. It's been in the refrigerator for 2 hours, so all that good flavor will soak in and have those wonderful flavors. Now, while that was sitting out for just a couple of minutes to get a little bit of room temperature, I came to my slow cooker and went ahead and put it on for 6 hours and 30 minutes on low. It's heating up because then we're going to be adding these petite diced tomatoes along with spaghetti sauce into it and some seasoning when we get to it. However, let's get started with our meatballs. Now, with our meatballs, you don't want them too big, you don't want them too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tablespoon to help me guide and measure them out the right size that I need. Now I'm going to have a lot left over so I can freeze these meatballs and have them for another dish with rice or spaghetti or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and cook up all these and then put them in a slow cooker. So for now, while the slow cooker is going, we're going to go ahead and take a tablespoon of meat, and we're just going to go ahead and roll it into our balls. And this is like a tablespoon, which is a pretty good size. So what we have here is a tablespoon rounded with our seasonings and cheese and stuff. Smells so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do like a pan full and then get it started with putting it in our pan to sear this. Now, you can put it in the oven to brown it, but we want to get it browning on all edges and make sure it's nice and brown and with all those yummy flavors. You don't want to cook it all the way through because it's going to be in the slow cooker cooking just as well. So we want the meatballs to be tender and juicy and to fall apart when they are in your mouth. Now, I've watched a lot of YouTube people do this and chefs on YouTube, and most of them said 2 hours, 4 hours, it depends. Well, the reason why I put mine on 6 hours and 30 minutes is because of the fact that I want my slow cooker to get heated first before I add what I need to add at the bottom and then the meatballs and stuff like that. So our first meatballs is going to be in there searing. I haven't made meatballs in a while, so this is interesting. I make meatballs differently every time. I do my dishes differently every time I make them. So just to experience with different flavors, different textures and stuff to it. Now, a lot of people, and I have learned that once you have meat, any kind of meat that you have, you want to keep a little bit out and test it by frying it up for the flavor and texture, because you don't want it too salty and you don't want it not enough seasoning in it. So that's what we're going to do when we have just a little bit of meat left. I'm going to just fry that little piece up, try it, and tell you guys what I think about it. However, when you round meatballs, you want to use a flat hand also and just roll it around, and it shapes awesomely. All these meatballs are a tablespoon. Like I had said before, you can be big, small, whatever size meatballs you would like. However, I'm doing a tablespoon here so that our meatballs will be delicious, big and thick, and we'll get full on them instead of just having small ones. Now, small ones you can use as a I'm sorry, I'm just not here today. I would use them for parties if you want to, like, do small ones. However, I wouldn't recommend it for, like, dinners. Now, meatballs are really great for spaghetti, if you're having spaghetti. But I just wanted to have, like, meatballs with mashed potatoes and as a dinner, because I also know that you can just eat the meatballs as a meal itself. If you guys are wondering why I'm wearing gloves, it's to help me be sanitary for one, and I don't want to get my germs after I washed my hands into the meat and touch the meat. This is a safety thing that all cooks do, and it helps. Not here trying to teach or anything, but so what I'm gonna do is just get these all nice and made up here. And as you've seen in the first video, you would have all the things of the seasonings, what was put into it, how it got together, whatever you want to look at. I didn't put it in the description below, but if you need to, you can rewind it back. However, if you like any of these videos, any of them, or the two that I have done, this one and my last one, please like and subscribe below in the and leave comments, so I know some feedbacks. I still haven't really thought of a cooking theme for videos, cooking shows or something, and I'm not that creative with all that. So it's a little bit more difficult for me to figure out when I have school and things going on. Now, I've got to say that it is worth everything, guys. Everything. This is my passion. I love it. I go to school for it. I'm about to graduate next year. I'm learning a lot. I've done some things here and there with cooking. I should probably do videos of what I learned, and I was thinking about doing those, but I'm not too sure. Because I just don't like putting it out there and taking credit for it. So my thing is I know meatballs has been around for a while, and people put a lot of things in it, different seasonings. I do it differently. I've seen people, I don't know, grill them and then putting them in there. Some of them bake them off. Some just put them in pans to sear it off, which we're going to be doing today. Which, like I said, we're going to just stick them in a pan. I'm going to get our frying pan after I get this all mixed up and into a ball. Well, it's already mixed up, but into our balls and measured out. And then we're going to just stick some of them in the frying pan because we don't want to crowd it much. We want it to have room to cook. And I would cook this for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes just to brown it. It's still going to be pink and raw inside, so it's not going to be done completely. That's where the slow cooker comes in. And then once our first batch is in there and cooking, I will go ahead and start putting like the seasonings and the sauce and stuff that we need into the slow cooker. Ooh, it's a lot of work, but I love it. I love it. We got one more meatball to form here. It smells really awesome, guys. Really awesome. Alright, so this is our last meatball that we got to form. Here, just roll it, roll it, roll it. I'm also going to use and cut up an onion and do some seared stuff also for the sauce. So we'll get to that. Okay, so now that our meat is done and all rolled up beautifully, I just want to go put our pan on. But before I do, I want to show you guys what these meatballs look like. So again, this is a tablespoon that I used for them, all perfectly sized, so they will all cook evenly and nice. And that's what we want. Just like potatoes, you don't want to cook it to where they're not even, because then you have uneven meatballs and it doesn't look too nice. I'm messing. I'm cutting up, guys. I really am. Alright, so these are potatoes. They're staying warm until I get to them. Awesome. Okay, so I got a frying pan here. I washed and cleaned. I am going to put this on 6 so it can get heated. And once it gets heated, we'll start adding our meatballs in here and letting them sear on the other side. So we don't need to add any olive oil, no butter, no nothing to that, because the meatballs are going to actually create their own juices and stuff, and we don't want all that because that's greasy and that's fat, and we don't need that. So if you want, we're going to go ahead and start putting stuff into our slow cooker that's on low. That I set for 6:30. So now it's 6 hours still and 15 minutes. We're going to go ahead and put this stuff in there. We're going to open up a can of petite tomatoes here. And then you can use any kind of spaghetti sauce. I'm using the Classico for cheese. So you could use mushroom flavored for cheese, original, any kind of flavor that you want for your meatballs. I just chose the 4 cheeses because I'm not a mushroom fan. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these petite tomatoes, and they kind of look like this with the juice, and I kind of got some juice over here. I don't know, my counter. But they look like this. I'm going to take a can and put it at the bottom of our slow cooker. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you guys here real quick. This is what I did. Now you can use 1 or 2 cans. I'm going to choose to use 1 because there's going to be other sauces in here and stuff. And we don't want to overpower it with tomatoes. So that looks really good. Okay. So, not really going to add too much of the spaghetti sauce in there at first, because you want it to cover the meatballs. So I suggest you put just a little bit of spaghetti sauce in there, just at the bottom, just to mix in there, because you're going to use the rest for the meatballs on the inside of the meatballs. Now this ain't stuffed meatballs, it's just regular meatballs. I didn't want to stuff them. I wanted to, but then again I didn't want to. So, but I added, like I said, the petite, everything. Don't drain your tomatoes, because it's also going to produce some liquid in there, and you want some liquid. Now, the pan feels like it's really hot, or it's getting there. And we're going to go ahead and take, it's smoking, nice. We're going to go ahead and take our meatballs here and place them in here. Now, I'm placing them in here so that way not all of them, like I said, you want to space them out. You don't want it too much space. You don't want it too much crowded because you want it to cook like evenly throughout the whole thing. So I'm just going to put just enough in here to do that. You can use whatever you want to get it out. I'm going to be using a slotted spoon here because with the holes, it will drain the grease, whatever's in there, when I pick up the meatballs and put them into the slow cooker. And you don't want that grease in there. So I'm using a slotted spoon with holes. I'm going to go ahead and turn this between 4 and 6. You don't want to cook it on too high. So I got it between 4 and 6. And I got them in here. You want your pan to be extremely hot when you put them in there because it kind of does the cooking time a little bit faster. But like I said, we're not going to totally cook these. We're just going to cook them enough where they're brown on all sides. And then we're just going to throw them in our crock pot and let them go. And they will cook the rest of the way and you'll have a good meal. Now, for your base, I would call it base, for our meatballs, I'm going to add some seasoning to it. And with the seasoning, you don't want too much seasoning, but you just want enough here. So I'm just going to find in my cabinet here. Where's my... Can't find it, guys. Oh well. I guess I can't season that. But we'll just use this. We'll just use this. This is like an Italian thing. It has different herbs in it. It's dried. I have just a little bit left, as you guys can see, because I've been using it a lot. So we're just going to take maybe a couple of tablespoons or teaspoons, about like that much, if you guys can see. And we're just going to sprinkle it in there. Or just throw it all in there, whatever you prefer. Just in case I'm going to need that. Now that our meatballs are smelling really good and getting seared here, I'm going to go ahead and turn them over. Or turn them on their sides. Or whatever. You guys don't mind that. I thought I said I did something. Okay. So my meatballs are brown on one side. A nice, pretty color, but you want to make sure it's like that on all sides. So they look like this. And this one kind of flipped itself back over here. So what I'm going to do is just do it like this. There we go. So you can tell how nice coating of that is. It's okay if it's still pink. Like I said, I'm stressing over it. It's going to cook in a slow cooker for the rest of the way, so it doesn't matter if it's all done or not. You can use different types of meat, like sausage, ground turkey, ground beef, whatever you prefer. I prefer ground beef. That's just me. So, now what we're going to do is, I'm going to, if I can find it here, guys, I'm not really prepared for this video, but I'm doing the best I can. Maybe it's in my thing. I'll be right back. So what I got here in my dishwasher, I don't know, is that, oh, that's clean, okay, is a small pan. I'm going to use that and chop up some onions and sear the onions. And I'm also going to use some garlic to put in there. This is the way it will be all juicy, yummy, gives it that great flavor. And add other seasonings and stuff to it if you would like. Okay, so here I got a Vidalia onion that we're going to cut up. And turn our meatballs down because I don't want them to like burn. But they smell awesome, guys. Really awesome. I'm sorry, I'm not in the camera as much, but we getting there. I'm getting there. Alright. So now I'm going to be cutting up this onion. As you guys will see, it's a Vidalia onion. It's a white onion. You could use green, whatever color onions, red, white, Vidalia. Doesn't matter. Whatever you prefer. It's really much of your choice and what you prefer and stuff. I just prefer certain things because they go well. Okay, so I can't get it off. Give me a hard time here. That's okay, because it's going down. This is going down. Okay, anyways, I need to stop. I'm being crazy here. Alrighty, so now that we have our onion and the top layer off, we are now going to chop this up very finely. You don't want to have big chunks, and you don't want too small of chunks. So I cut them, I sliced them, and now I'm just going to cut them just like so. I'm trying to get this, because this is going to go into the sauce. So we don't want big chunks, too much of a big chunks of onion here. We want it small enough for it, so I'm just getting some of this chopped up here beautifully. Beautiful. Sorry. A little bit of onion juice is just splashed up in my face. We're just going to chop this as tiny as we can. And for the sake of it, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get a plate and put a paper towel on it, because this is going to drain the rest of the fat and stuff that we have on our meatballs. Now you can tell, as you can tell, our meatballs are looking good. First batch. Okay, let me stop. So I'm going to just pick them up, and since they are a little greasy still, I'm going to just go ahead and get them out. They're seared beautifully. That's what we want on all sides. So I'm going to go ahead and take this up and let them drain a little bit on the paper towel, so that way I can go ahead and stick them into the slow cooker when we get down to it. Now, we're going to add some more meat into our hot sear pan here. Just like this. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Looking good, people. I'm just kidding. I'm just being crazy all the way around. Craziness, craziness, craziness. Alright. So I am now still chopping up our onions fine to about maybe 1/4 to 1/8 small, because it's going to get seared, it's going to have other stuff with it, and you don't want to taste nothing but onion in our sauce. So that's another reason why we want it kind of chopped up small. But you don't want it, like I said, too small. You want it to about 1/4, 1/8 inch. If you don't know what that is, I will show you later on in another video what you can use as a measuring thing. You can order off of Amazon. It's a measuring ruler for cooking. So basically, this is how small it should look. About that small. So now that we have that, we're going to go over here and turn on our other pan just to turn it on so it can get to what it needs to be. And we're going to add just a little bit of oil in it. I got extra virgin olive oil because we're going to sear this puppy. We're going to put about 1.5 tablespoons in there to get it started because we need it to sear the onions. That's the icing. Sorry, guys. We want it to sear the onions and the garlic nice and toasty and all that nice goodness. Alright, so looking good for our other spices. Now, a lot of people don't do it the way I do it, and that's fine. You don't have to. I'm okay with it. I'll be okay. So I got minced garlic already, and as you can tell, it's been used a lot. I love minced garlic. It brings out flavors. It brings out all kinds of flavors. Now I'm just going to swirl this around just a little bit here. Just like that, to coat the pan on the bottom. And our meat is looking good. Our meatballs are looking delicious. So I'm going to go ahead and put all this onion in here. Now, you could do several things. You can put some more seasoning that you like into the pan with the onions and stuff, and then throw it all into there, or you could just directly put it into there. Me, it's either way, so it's fine either way it goes. I'm fine with it. So now I'm just going to sear these onions here for a little bit to get an opaque color. Opaque means it's a clear white. It's very clear. It's not white anymore. It's like a clear. For those who don't know that. So now that's up on high, so that can get started before I add any seasonings and garlic and stuff into it. I'm going to go ahead and pick up our meatballs for our second batch. Oh, guys, I'm telling you, they look so beautifully done and delicious. But they're still pink, and I'm not about to, can't try that. So we're just going to add some more. Another batch in there, probably our third. Probably get 4 batches, maybe 4 batches out of it. Yeah, I'm getting 4 batches out of this, which is okay. It's a lot of meatballs. Like I said, whatever meatballs is left over, I can just use it for another meal like spaghetti or whatnot. So now I am getting this done. Let me turn this on just a little bit, guys, because it is kind of hot up in here. Need the fan. So now my onions are getting the way I want them. It's a beautiful opaque color. And this is what they would look like when they start to become very opaque. They come this clearish way like this. So it's all good. Just a little bit more, and then we'll add other seasonings to it, and then we can get started on our potatoes. Now, I'm doing my mashed potatoes differently. I know you've seen in some other videos, if you watched my previous videos, I've done it differently with onion soup before and put it in the oven. While I'm making this, I'm going ahead and hopefully they're still hot. Hopefully. I'm going to mash them up, do the same way, and put them in the oven when they're ready. When they're ready, then we'll just pop them in the oven and let it cook. Alright, so now my onions are the way it is. I'm going to put maybe 2 to 3 squirts of minced garlic in there. Long spoon, about to use it. Don't want lit. Sorry, I got itchies too. So I'm just gonna go ahead. You hear that beautiful sizzle. That's what you want. So here's what we're gonna do now. We're getting like the onions flavored in with the garlic, mixed garlic here. Perfect. It's always good to have meatballs. And you know, I might not just add all the meatballs into here, just what I need. But, however, might as well cook them. We'll figure out what to do with the rest of them. So now that my onions and garlic are starting to brown, that's when we're going to add more. We're going to add some seasoning to it, which will now become the salt and pepper mixture I have here that I use a lot. As you can see, I put salt and pepper, mixed it together. And I'm just going to drizzle some of that onto here. Like 2 pinches. I would do 2 pinches just to be on the safe side. And then just brown it. Now when it gets brown, it's fine because it's going to do that. I'm also going to turn this down because I don't want to burn it. I just want to brown it with the salt and pepper and the garlic. And everybody knows burnt garlic is the nastiest thing ever. So you just want it to be right where you need it to be. Okay? So, when that is done, which it will be done, I'm also going to add maybe, if I can find it, some of this. This is a Himalayan pink salt, black pepper, garlic. I will add into here, but not into this because we're already getting to where we need to be on this. I just added a little bit of salt and pepper to give it flavor to the onions. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take it and empty this that we have cooked into our mixture here. Alright, so let's move that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up in here just to give it that spaghetti kind of looking. Awesome. Now what I'm also going to do is go ahead and add some of this seasoning to it. Just a little bit, not too much, because it has salt and pepper and it has already salt and pepper in it, but this also has different flavors to it. And we're going to make a little bed for the meatballs here. So, now, the meatballs, like I said, we probably won't use them all. I'll probably just go ahead and cook the ones that are in pan thoroughly and the ones that are in here thoroughly. Because I think for just 2 people, this should be enough. Should be. Now, if I don't think so, then I'll add more. However, I'm just going to go ahead and place these meatballs beautifully down in here on their bed. I might just put it all in here. I have not decided how I'm going to do this just yet. So, I'm just trying to get these meatballs down in here and start cooking. We're going to nuzzle it in their little beds here. So yeah, this is enough for 2 people. Or basically, for about 2 people. I will show you what it looks like so you know what it will look like. And I'm just going to go ahead and cook the rest of these meatballs off. Let them cook thoroughly. And let them cool down. Put them in a baggie and freeze them. And I can use them, put spaghetti sauce over it if we have spaghetti, you know, for different things. So here is the meatballs that are on their little bed. I nuzzled them. Like I said, it's okay. Pink perfect, it's fine. So, now that that is said, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just shake this up a little bit more. And we're gonna add the spaghetti sauce on top of the meatballs. So that way, they can get nice and coated. I used the whole jar, which is okay. Which is okay, guys. It's okay. It's okay. Just kidding. Let me stop. So now, this is what it looks like. The meatballs are covered. And they're good to go for now. I'm going to put the lid on this puppy and let them go. And I will check back with them in a couple of hours to see how it looks. Make sure they get... Oh, flush me. Sorry. And make sure they're getting done. The rest of the meatballs, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead, cook them thoroughly. We don't need all of them. And then I'm going to let them cool down. Once they're cooled down, I will go ahead and put them in a baggie, label it, and we will be good with that. However, we are now going to go to the potatoes. Let these cook here. Potatoes are a little bit different. Can be any way you want. I don't want to burn my counter here. Yeah, it's a little warm. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, they're still very hot. They're still hot a little bit. I don't have a masher, so I'm going to use a fork to mash them up. Use whatever you have, if you have a potato masher, whatever. I don't, so I'm just going to go ahead, smash up with the peels. Because like I said in my other videos when I made different mashed potatoes, I like my mashed potatoes to be a little chunky. I don't like to have it smooth, creamy, but you want some creaminess to it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually gonna check these. Oh, these look good. Okay, great. So we're gonna add a stick of butter, a half a stick of butter. This is about 4 tablespoons of butter. You can find these at Walmart, any grocery store like that. I've always been using them. I like them because they are 4 tablespoons, and if I need something, I could just cut a tablespoon off and everything instead of having a whole stick of butter. So basically, I have 4 tablespoons of butter here. And I'm not going to put it in there whole. So what I'm going to do is take a knife and cut it into like slabs, like chunk slabs, and just throw it in there. Just throw it in there. Oh, that one don't want to become a slab. Oh well. So that is doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and just mix this up in there. And for it to like really get the heat more in there because of it, I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on so that steam can start melting the butter. However, I'm going to go to my meatballs here. And I'm going to go ahead and take them out and put the other ones in. Now, they may not be done all the way, and that's okay. Because when I cook them for another dish or something, I could just heat them up in a pan and they'll finish cooking. So that way, it will be completely done. Alright, so my last batch of meatballs are in there. And I have enough for spaghetti or whatever other dish I want to use that for. Alrighty, guys. Looking good. On time, doing nothing, whatever. Okay. I'm being crazy again, sorry. Alright. So, you can go ahead and just see, yes, perfect. It melted. Now, with me, I'm going to add some salt and pepper and milk and stuff, and we're just going to just get it going here, like the basic mashed potatoes. I'm probably use like a cup of milk, but me, I like to just eyeball it, judge it to see if it's the way I want it. Now milk does cool this stuff off, so you might want to reheat it, but for me, I'm not, because once I get my seasonings and stuff into this, I'm going to be literally putting it in a baking dish and cooking it off and topping it with cheese and let that stuff go. But I do have a recipe for the onion potatoes in another video of mine. So I'm also going to add the Himalayan pink salt. I'm not going to add salt and pepper to that because, like I said, this does have different spices plus Himalayan salt and pepper. So I'm just going to add some of that into here. Perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. Smells awesome. Then I'm going to add beef onion soup to it by Lipton. There's different recipes you can use or whatever. It comes 2 in a pack in a small box. And like I showed you before in the earlier video, it looks like this. However, I may not use all of it. I'm just going to sprinkle some of it in there. Mix this up. We're going to go check those meatballs too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this in a glass baking dish where it can cook. I'm going to taste it to see if it needs any more seasoning and stuff like that. But right now I'm going to come over here to my meatballs, turn them over. I'm going to try to cook all those meatballs all the way through. If not, I still will get them cooked. Okay. So, for the taste test here, let's see if I need any more stuff with this. Because I don't want to over season these. I think it needs a little bit more onion soup to it. Oh, what the heck. I'll just dump the whole pack in there. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and mix this all the way up. Now, these is called beefy mashed potatoes. It has that beefy flavor to it. It will go well with the meatballs. I'm just trying to get all of it mixed up. And it looks like a nasty color, guys, but in reality, it's not really that bad. So we're going to try this again. Perfect. That is so good. Okay. Now, I have a glass baking dish I'm going to set them into. And I'm going to actually put them in the refrigerator until it's time for me to cook them. Then I'm going to go in the oven. Once it goes in the oven and it bakes, and then put cheese on top of it, oh honey, it's like heaven. I'm just kidding. I need to stop, really. So now I'm adding all my potatoes into my baking dish here. Just like this. And I'm just gonna spread these out so they can evenly get cooked the way it's supposed to. Now, it already looks like it has cheese in it, but it really doesn't. It has, like I said, the beefy onion flavored onion soup in there. And this is what it will look like. Now, I know it looks gross. It looks nasty. But it's delicious. Because on top of it, it's going to go with cheese on top of it. And who doesn't like cheese? But you're going to like bake it off. You can make any of this ahead of time. So when you have parties or big dinners or for family, easy, easy. Easy peasy. So I'm going to put that up because we don't need that no more. Trying to think, guys. Trying to think. I don't think I got anything else. Well, the bread, of course, like I said in my other video, it's cheddar biscuits. And it's out of a box, so you really don't need to see that. And I would do that like last minute. Everything seems to be done and ready. And I'm just cooking off the rest of my meatballs so I can let them cool and add them into a baggie and freeze them. Now you can freeze them up to like, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe 2. It depends. Getting these cooked. They're done. I'm going to let these cool. Awesome. And again, these are not cooked all the way, so I would know when I see the pink. And I left the pink on purpose so I can tell when I got to cook them through if I heat them up. So, I'm going to go ahead and let these cool down. And I think that's the end of our videos. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I love you guys. Bye, guys. Bye.